In this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to make decisions in programming. We'll look at how to use the if and if else statements in making decisions in our programs. When programmers write more complex and interactive programs, they don't just sit down at the keyboard and begin typing. Programmers must plan the complex portions of programs. To help with the planning, programmers use pseudocodes and flowcharts to plan the logic of a program. A pseudocode is a tool that helps programmers plan a program's logic by writing the steps needed to accomplish a given task in plain English. A flowchart is similar to pseudocode, except the steps are written in diagrammatic form as a series of shapes connected by arrows. The structure of a chart can be sequential, that is, one where one step follows another step unconditionally, or a decision structure, one that involves choosing between alternative course of action based on some value within a program. When reduced to their most basic forms, all computer programs are yes or no decisions. The following is an example of a sequential and a decision structure of a flowchart. In the sequence structure, we see that the steps for our program follow each other from top to bottom, but in the decision structure, the steps either follow each other or branches into other steps. Let me explain the decision steps further. In this structure, the user is first asked to enter the diameter and does that. Then the user is then asked to enter the radius and does exactly that. Now we come to the diamond shaped here. To represent a decision, flowchart creators use a diamond shape to hold a question, and they draw paths to alternative courses of action emerging from the sides of the diamonds. So in our diamond shape, the program asks if the radius is half that of the diameter. If the answer is no, the program takes a path one step backwards to the enter radius step for the user to enter another value for radius. Until a yes answer is encountered, that is when the radius is half the diameter, the program goes back. If the answer is yes, the program proceeds to the next step, calculating the circumference, and then goes on to display the result of the circumference. Now, let's look at the decision-making statements, the if and if else statements. In Java, when you want to take an action if a Boolean expression is true, you use an if statement. If you want to take an action when a Boolean expression is true but take a different action when the expression is false, you use an if else statement. So, the if statement. An if statement is sometimes called a single alternative selection because there is only one alternative, the true alternative. For example, suppose we declare an integer variable named exam score and we want to display a message when the value of exam score is 90. We write the following if statement to make the decision whether to produce output. So we type if, then we bring the parentheses. A Java if statement always includes parentheses. Within the parentheses, type exam scores equals with, that is the double equal sign, 90. I will explain what the double equal sign means in a bit. Outside the parentheses, press enter to move to the next line. And we can see that there is an indentation. If there isn't, give an indentation. Now, type the output statement system.out.println between quotation marks. Your exam score is perfect. This is how a simple if statement looks like. Now let's assign 90 to exam scores and let's run this program. When we do so, we get our output to be the score is perfect. Let me explain. Inside the parentheses, the double equal sign is used to determine equality. So the statement asks if exam score is equal to 90, which is true, a yes answer. So the program executes any statement that follows the complete if statement. If it had been false, the output statement does not execute. So let's change the assignment to 70 and then run it. We see no output is displayed. Note, there is no semicolon at the end of the first line of the if statement. Now, the double equal sign that we used previously. The double equal sign is part of the relational operators. There are 6 relational operators. From the diagram, we have the equal to, the less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and the not equal to operator. We can use any of these operators in the if statement expression that evaluates as true or false. Now, the if-else statement. In Java, the if-else statement provides a way to perform one action when a Boolean expression evaluates as true and a different action when a Boolean expression evaluates as false. So you can use an if-else statement for a dual alternative selection. For example, in our code, we would use an if-else statement if we wanted to display one message when the value of exam score is 90 and a different message when it is not. So let's go ahead and add our else part. So on the line after the if output statement and vertically aligned with the if, we type else and press enter to move to the next line. Indent it if it has not been indented and type system.out.println between quotation, your exam score is not perfect. Now let's run this and see what happens. In our output, we get the output, your exam score is not perfect because the value of exam score is 70, which is not equal to 90. Looking at our example code, we notice that the keyword if is aligned vertically with the keyword else, and then the action statements that depend on the evaluations are indented. So far, we have only had one statement in the if and if else statement, but we may want to take more actions in the if and if else statements. These actions could be assignments, output statements, and a whole lot. To execute more than one statement that depends on the evaluation of a Boolean expression, we use a pair of curly braces to place the dependent statements within a block. So, for example, let's add the following statement to our code. In our if statement, add system.out.println exams completed, and in the else add the same system.out.println between quotation marks exams completed before the other output statement. Now let's add our curly braces. After the parenthesis of the if, type the open curly braces. Then after the last statement of the if, we type the closing curly braces. We do same for the else. I will recommend you always add your curly braces for both single and multiple statements of the if and if else statements. Why is this? Let's remove the braces for the if statement. If we run this, you see we get an error. This error occurred because the if statement ends after the first statement. The next statement becomes a standalone statement and will execute no matter the output. The else statement becomes a different set of code and is illegal because you can't begin a code with an else. Let's put our curly braces back and then change our assignment to 95 and our relational operator to the greater sign, and then run this. And in our output we get your exam score is perfect because 95 is greater than 90. So guys, this is how to make decisions with the if and if else statements. We will end our lesson here today and continue another time where we continue with more on decision making.
Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.